is it a profitable business?
Is it just
Questions. High-flying career to going homeless. Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the Ugly Wood Company Podcast.
We are your hosts for today,
Glennard
and Nicole.
So what are we going to talk about today?
Today we're going to talk about the
Frequently asked questions.
Yay! We have camera 1, camera 2, and camera 3. Always acknowledge each camera each time.
Okay, so when we tell people what we do, right? So when we tell people that we run Ugly Wood Company, we do get a lot of very common questions from whether it's our friends and family or it's kind of just potential customers. So we thought we would take this chance to just answer some of the most common questions, right? So the first one, most commonly asked, right, is what is the difference between carpentry and woodworking? So as you know, right, we at Ugly Wood Company, we call ourselves a woodworking company. I call myself a woodworker. So what is the difference?
You want to hear my answer first?
What is your answer when people ask you?
So I think, okay, I don't know whether I don't know if this is the full answer or how you would answer, but how I will normally answer my friends is, carpentry is something where you build something that is built-in, like a built-in cabinet or wardrobe. But woodworking is more of like you're making loose furniture, like a table, a dining table, a coffee table, a dining table, whatever. So do you want to add on to that question? Add on to that answer?
The answer is very close to what I would say also.
Oh, really?
I think if I get caught off guard, that is my very quick answer because
I think because I heard you say before.
Yeah.
Then I just use that
But I
answer.
think if you think about it like kind of bigger picture and especially internationally, right? My understanding is that carpenters, they are dealing with really fixed items. So in Singapore, we use the term built-in. But if you talk about a carpenter, let's say in Japan, in the United States, right, they are building houses, they are building bridges, they are building temples. So the people who do those kind of woodworking, wooden bridges and wooden shrines, I think they are called carpenters. Whereas when you talk about woodworking, right, it's really kind of, you can go from very, very small items like a jewelry box, kind of plugs, all the way to cabinets, drawers, dining tables. So I think that difference in scale is a very common answer in the internationally. In Singapore, how we do it is really we use the term built-in, right? As in any piece of furniture like a cabinet or a drawer that is stuck to the walls or to the floor. That is generally how we define it. Whereas for us woodworking, the answer is still the same. We are still talking about kind of very small items to all the way up to the size of a cabinet.
No, but just now you said something about you said something about fixed items.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Then after that you went on to say like shrines.
So
bridge.
When I am talking about fixed items, I mean anything that has kind of like a foundation attached to the ground, to the concrete or the soil, or when we talk about attached to kind of like another permanent structure, like talk about being attached to the wall, attached to the kind of the skeleton of the building, so things like that. So that's how I would loosely define fixed versus loose. Yeah.
Okay.
Then, of course, the very common follow-up question is, why do we choose to be woodworkers instead of carpenters or instead of any other like field? Do you have an answer for that?
I don't think so. I think harder to be a carpenter because
if other people ask you, you tell them, I don't know, my husband choose one.
I think so. I think I'll say that. Okay, but then if I were to really give a proper answer, I think I would think maybe carpenter is harder to do because it feels like you need more licensing. Like my idea would be that because you are, like let's say you're drilling into a wall, right, to build like built-in cabinets and stuff, then like like maybe you need more license or like certificates to prove that okay, you know what you're doing to the wall.
That's true.
Like from
That's true.
BCA.
Yeah, from kind of like administrative.
Yeah. Then then woodworking is you just kind of if you have the capital to do it and the equipment to do it, you don't need any you don't need like official like certificates to do it. I think like you can do it as a hobby. But I think carpentry you don't really hear people doing it.
I think in Singapore you also don't see kind of having very hard regulations as to like who can be a carpenter. Like the individual staff. The company might have certain requirements. So they might have certain like safety requirements, they might have certain kind of like employment requirements.
Yeah.
But not in the case of the individual staff. Like they can hire anybody that they want. Only when it comes to kind of more, I would say more sensitive things, like anything affecting plumbing or anything affecting electrical, things like that, then certain special rules might kick in. But I think broadly speaking, in Singapore, there really isn't a fixed hard requirement to say that you must have a license before you can do carpentry.
Can you be a freelance carpenter?
Yes. Actually, a lot of people are.
Oh, is it?
So I
thought they are usually under like contractor companies.
No. So it's actually, so the way our industry works, right? Like the interior design industry, it is very much locked into the idea of contractors and subcontractors, because most subcontractors, you talk about your plumbers, your electricians, your carpenters, they are not big companies. They only specialize in kind of like one set of skills. So they end up being employed or recruited by the bigger contractors who's managing the whole interior design, who's managing the whole project. So
there's a difference between subcon and
correct.
con.
So you think about contractor as kind of managing all the contractors, and then subcon as subcontractor, one level below. So a subcon,
I always thought it's interchangeable.
I think before I started, I had the same thinking also. Then after a while, you realize the plumber only know how to do plumbing. The electrician, some electricians are so specialized that they will tell you they only do one certain type of special electrician. Yeah. So a contractor's job is to recruit all these different skill sets for like specifically for their project, and be able to kind of deliver on time lah. Yeah. But going back to kind of like for us specifically, right, woodworking versus carpentry, I know the reason I chose to become a woodworker, it's because it's much more accessible. I came from a architecture background. I came from a design background. No. So I came from architecture background. I think one of the things I wanted was to get away from things that were too large. Because I think even back when I was studying, right, there was always this feeling of when you're designing something, the scale is very difficult to appreciate. So I wanted to do something that was what I like to call human scale. There was something that I could touch and feel, and I can appreciate the entirety of that piece. So it can be anything as small as like a coaster, it could be something as small as chopsticks, umbrella, all the way to, like I said, dining table, cabinet. Anything that is larger than that, right? Talking about cabinets, right? And built-in cabinets specifically, you are talking about really like managing, how many things fit in this room. You're talking about a lot of numbers. You're talking about a lot of kind of scaling, appreciation of that scale, which some people are interested in, but I am not. I think after doing it for 5 years, I really wanted to do something that like I can appreciate all the small details lah. So that's why I decided to go with woodworking. It's much more accessible. I think the other reason I go with woodworking kind of like as my line of work, right, is that I really value the flexibility of loose furniture. Because when we renovated the house, right, we had the experience of deciding what should be built in and what should be fixed to the walls and what should be loose. And I think because I find myself going back and forth as to like, oh, this thing should be here, oh no, this thing should be there, oh no, we should dedicate this space here. It becomes a very big You feel like you're running around in circles,
Okay.
and you're trying to chase it to be perfect, because once it's built in, it's very hard to take down.
Yeah.
But if it's something loose, right, you find that, okay, you just move,
shift it
you shift it
anywhere.
once or twice, right, and then once you find the perfect place, just leave it there.
Just
and then
shift it for the feng shui.
what's even better is if you shift it to that place, right, that is perfect, and something in your life changes. Let's say you get a pet, let's say you have family visiting, let's say you have children, then you shift it to that new kind of environment, you shift it to fit that new context. And then if that context changes back, then you just change back lah. So I find that I think the flexibility of loose furniture, I really appreciate a lot more compared to fixed pieces. I think that's really, really where I'm interested in. And then lastly, of course, is like the accessibility, the business side of things lah. I would say woodworking is definitely cheaper to be competitive in terms of the business world
As compared
to fixed carpenters.
Oh wait, I thought you meant like as compared to other types of materials.
No. I'm still talking about carpentry and woodworking.
Oh, okay.
That's still the main gist of our topic.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but then people also ask lah, is it a profitable business? Do you think this is a profitable business?
Takes a few years.
I'll just say it's not. It's not. It's not a profitable business.
Oh, then why are we doing this? Why are you doing this? Yeah, so then why do you continue then?
I mean, I like
you feel this
I
is not
like
profitable.
everything about it except the
Why not go back to a corporate job?
I like everything about it except the money side
The
of
no
things.
money side.
Yeah. But then like if you think about a corporate job, right, it's like I like everything except I only like the financial part of it. I only like the financial stability of my job in my past. I think.
Oh, means you're saying you don't like the people.
Can you not? Can you don't put words in my mouth? Okay, I enjoy working with my colleagues also, my ex-colleagues. But yeah.
No.
But yeah, I mean that's a good segue to kind of what we were talking about, right? So people also ask whether this is our full-time job. So for me, it is. This is my full-time job. I stopped working my corporate job in 2021? 2022, correct, 2022.
Oh.
Yeah, so we started building out our workshop in late 2022, and we started having clients and customers come over, whether it's workshop customers, whether it's furniture order customers. We started that in 2023. So in terms of full-time, we have been doing it for about 2 years or so. But in terms of really the whole company's lifespan, we've been around for about
2019?
5 years, 6 years. Correct.
19,
2019, yes. So
before COVID.
we started in 2019. We mainly took on small orders, but also every so often we took on very, very large orders, like installations. So, but we could never take on workshop participants. We could never kind of like teach people. So
didn't have the space.
yeah, we didn't have the space. We didn't have the
Still
equipment.
living in your parents' house.
We were working basically in the living room or for larger projects in the corridor, the lift lobby area. So we didn't actually have a lot of workspace that could facilitate people
I don't
coming
have
to
the
learn.
capacity.
Yeah, but this is my full-time job, but this is not your full-time
No.
job. This is
My part-time job.
maybe you want to share with everyone your actual full-time job.
So I'm actually like a technical application scientist. So I work in a German company. Why does this feel like I'm doing an interview?
No, you need to
I'm sharing an interview with
you need to share with people what like kind of you're doing. If this is not your full-time job, then what is your full-time job?
I'm a scientist.
Housewife.
No, I don't even do the housewife part. So sad. Why you marry me? Okay, so going back, I am like what they call in the fields technical application scientist. So what that means is I work in an ingredient company that so my main role works around testing ingredients in different forms of applications. So different food applications, I should put it. So my background is actually food science and technology. You suddenly like put me on the spot.
No, I thought it's quite expected that I'll talk about your work.
No, that's so unexpected.
No, but I mean, one of the things I always tell the people who ask this kind of question, I always say that like, I am doing like half a job, whereas my partner is doing 1.5 jobs because she has a full-time job plus taking on half of Ugly Wood Company. So
do you want to should we tease that like the organization we're gonna have a reorg soon?
yeah, our organization requires
we're gonna have
some
restructuring soon.
Yeah, so we will talk about that soon. So you should stay tuned. But there will be some manpower movements, some labor movements between the employees of Ugly Wood Company. But yeah, we will talk more about that like in another podcast. I think this one we will keep to kind of like the frequently asked questions. Okay, Ken. Yeah, I think we've covered most of the questions that we want to ask. What else is there? What else do people commonly ask?
I think they mostly ask about like, oh, so what do you do? Like what kind of things do you do? What kind of things do you make?
So like day in the life.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Afterwards, they don't really ask about. Actually, surprisingly, not many people ask about, oh, how do you even get into this? A lot of them just ask me.
But that's
like,
a question you want to answer, is it?
Huh?
That's a question you want to answer, is it?
Like, how do you get into this?
Yeah.
No lah, as in, it's not something that I want to answer. I don't know how to answer. Oh no, okay, wait. So I think I may have answered people when they ask, oh, why do you decide to do this?
Okay.
I don't know if it's the correct answer, but it's something you told me, like it's your own personal answer.
Okay.
I don't know whether you want me to share.
You can share lah. If we don't like, we just cut off.
Okay. No, so people have asked, so why do you decide to switch from a corporate job to doing this woodworking? So what I have said is that because you want to do something with your life, and like you want to look back in your like 30s and see that, oh, I've accomplished something, and not just, oh, I've only played games.
Yeah, I mean, what you said is like perfectly right. I think in terms of how I got into woodworking as a hobby first, it really is that I think there is this fear or this concern, right, that you go through your whole 20s and 30s and you end up realizing that you didn't really achieve anything outside of your corporate work. So that was when I started looking at different kind of hobbies I could take up, different things I could pursue, and woodworking came up as potential. So
will you say that you were having a midlife crisis? Or a quarter life crisis?
I think I wouldn't call it so far as a crisis because I didn't see it as like there isn't the impending feeling of doom and despair. So it was just like every time I stopped working, right, I just playing games. Like I didn't really want that feeling to be the persistent feeling throughout my 20s and 30s. So I decided to look for something to do lah. So I decided to pursue it out of interest, and then eventually, kind of over a few different life events, it became something that we considered, should we make it part of our career plan? Should we do? Should we really pursue this as a viable career?
There was another question that popped up, but then now it's gone. I forgot what it was. No, but the thing is, okay, then another thing that I want to ask you is, when you were about to quit your last full-time job, were there any things that people ask you, like, oh, why are you quitting? Like, is this, not say is this not a good job, but it's more of like, oh, are you not scared that like, oh, because now you're going to be an entrepreneur? Did anybody ask you that?
I had a manager who was very, very concerned that I would be putting aside a very financially stable role.
You go into poverty.
Yeah, and in the way
living on the streets.
The way she described it, right, it felt like I was going from
doomed from the
high
start.
flying career to going homeless.
Oh.
Because she was very, very concerned. Because she knew I was going through my home renovation, home ownership. I was going to get married to my wife soon.
Oh yeah, that was during the.
That was that period.
That was in between the renovation.
Correct. So she was super, super concerned. The way she described it, it really sounded like I was going to go homeless overnight.
She felt the doom on your behalf.
Correct. So that was something that I think I think about, but not to that extent. I never felt that I was, one mistake away from homelessness. I'm very fortunate enough to have like a safety net, which it's really my privilege to be able to do so. Ultimately, doing such a risky move is always a very scary step to take, but I am glad I did it, and I'm glad that I had the support of my family and my friends to be able to do so.
No, me. Support me.
Yes,
I
have the support of my family. You are family. I
want a specific.
wife. I'm very glad I have the support of my very lovely wife, Nicole Chang, who has supported me through ups and downs.
Don't dox my full
financially, emotionally, socially.
You need to bleep the last.
Materially.
You need to bleep my
Nicole,
Chinese name. Yeah, you need to bleep my Chinese name.
Yeah. Okay, so before we go, we would like to give our lovely, lovely listeners some unsolicited advice. So this is a segment we do every time before we end off the podcast. And to kick it off, Nicole, what's your unsolicited advice for today?
I think if you are a student looking into going to universities, and you do not want to go into research, just don't choose NUS.
Thank you for listening to the Ugly Wood Company podcast. We'll be back next week with another exciting episode. In the meantime, if you're interested in booking our services, please go to our website at www.uglywoodcompany.com and use the coupon code UWC Podcast for 10% off. That's UWC Podcast. Links in the description. Till next week.